Can you continue that one?
On a dull, dark dock,
Ship.
in a pestilential prison with a lifelong lock, awaiting the sensation of a short, sharp shock from a cheap and chippy chopper on a big black block.
Really nicely done. Welcome, everyone, to episode 214, The Icarus Factor. I didn't tell Jake we were recording. I just made him do a tongue twister.
Jake noticed, though. He's fine. He's not ashamed of his theater background.
He
I
is
don't know if
talking
you
in the
know
third
all
person
that I'm doing
now.
over here, but I guess you see.
Yeah, Jake's testing a New Year's resolution a little early. All 2021, he will be third person.
No joke. I'm doing that in my Pathfinder campaign right now as a character choice, and it's hard to remember like mid-sentence. Oh yeah, Ingot doesn't say I.
Really through with that, and Becca will do it the entire podcast.
It always makes you seem either narcissistic or stupid. Like there's no other way to look at it. Even though I don't think that's true, I always feels that way. Really?
What's the word when you're insulting yourself?
Deprecating?
Self-deprecating.
Self-defecating.
Becca just defecated herself. Yeah. See, it's always disparaging. I think that's how I use it. Of like, Becca forgot to attach the file to the email is a response I will often follow up with.
Because like, it's a dumb move, right?
Yeah, like, come on, Xander. Like, focus.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying an idiot in that sense.
But like you're calling yourself an idiot, right? Because you have
we're on the same page.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Same page.
Sorry, Becca and Jake are on the same page.
Right.
Yes, they are. But you know who isn't on the same page? Riker and his father, Kyle.
Ooh.
Oh,
daddy issues. Why didn't they call this episode Daddy Issues?
Right? They should have. I just wanted to be the first one, and this might be a little premature, Becca, but congratulations. I heard you're moving to another podcast where you get to be the host, like solely. So I know it's a big responsibility, but this is a good career move for you. And so I know that you're going to say yes.
What are you talking about?
So, sorry, what?
I'm sorry, are you going to ask me something?
Oh, no. I mean, you have a choice, but obviously you're going to say yes because it's a better podcast. And
you think I don't want to be with you, Xander, on this ship?
Oh, no, I just thought...
Do you not value our working relationship?
No, I thought your career was number one. I mean, you kept putting aside relationships with other people just to further your career.
Well, when you thought you made an ass out of you and me.
Oh, no.
But the Dust Gatherers podcast is a great podcast. You're going to love it. It's where they analyze how much dust gathers at certain surfaces at different times over courses of many hours.
I mean, it's perfect.
It's perfect for your skill set.
Yeah, that does. That sounds good.
Congratulations.
They record once a year.
A podcast about dust amounts.
Oh, and to give you your assignment, we've invited your dog, who I assume you have a tenuous relationship with. Oshi?
Oh.
How did you know it was tenuous?
We've been estranged for 15 minutes. At first, I thought the Oshi was Worf in this scenario and he was following along, but no, I get it. It's the dad.
Yeah. Oh, maybe, yeah.
Why did he only have 12 hours to make that decision? That seems really like...
Starfleet's got to move.
Yeah, we got to do it. We got to do it.
Space. Yeah, decisions happen. You know, they're moving at warp speed.
Ooh, there it is.
That's a good Starfleet motto is, we're in space, decisions happen.
Yeah.
You know what? When you have all of history at your back, you've got androids that can systematically weigh pros and cons for you, at least if you're on the Enterprise.
Sure.
Decisions are easier.
Wait, so the way you describe Data is an android that can systematically weigh pros and cons? Like, of all the things he could do, he's like a scale, essentially, is what you're saying. He is that.
Well, in this one, he's essentially a dad with Geordi as well, to Wesley. There's a whole lot of dad stories happening.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Icarus Factor.
Dad-pisode.
Dad-pisode.
I get it. I was like, nobody's flying too close to the sun. It's a dad thing in that story, too.
Is it? What's the dad thing in the Icarus story?
His dad is a candle.
His dad made the wings.
His dad is a candle? His dad made the wings?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. I also was wondering if it was misnamed, but yeah.
I don't know the myth Very
I'll
well.
look it up.
In Greek mythology, Icarus is the son of the master craftsman Daedalus. Daedalus? The creator of the labyrinth. Icarus and his father attempt to escape from Crete by means of wings that his father constructed from feathers and wax. Ah, yeah, feathers and wax. I do remember that. I forgot it was his dad that made him. Okay.
And then his dad
also, that
warned
just
him,
reminded me,
right?
Daedalus hooked up with Circe, the witch who lived on the island of Aiaia and turned all of the people on Odysseus' ship into pigs.
Amazing.
Do you mean the island
impressed.
of
Aiaia.
Aiaia.
Can you please not
Aiaia.
disrespect Circe like that?
Sorry.
Because she's a feminist icon.
Yes.
There is a retelling of her story from her perspective in a novel called Circe, Circe, not spelled like Game of Thrones. It's
Great.
excellent. Listen to the audiobook. Very well read.
Wow.
Can you please not disrespect this Greek goddess, please?
Yeah. Noted.
She's actually a demigod.
Oh, don't disrespect her.
Mm-hmm. But known as a witch.
But not a
'cause
full
she was
god.
woman.
Anyway,
So
That's why it's called Icarus Factor.
I was calling in today because my coworker is dating my dad, and I don't know how to feel about it. So
And I've been working with this coworker for like a year now, and she
Yeah.
never brought it up that they
At
were
all.
almost engaged.
Yeah, in love, I believe, was what was thrown about.
And when I confront her about it, she's all like, "It never came up." It's like, come on!
Yeah.
Come on.
You knew. We have a similar build. Our names are Riker.
We
They have
have a
4 letters in our first name, which is obviously a hereditary trait.
William?
You notice a lot of similarities name-wise.
Right. Also, Kyle was a bold choice, I think.
Yeah, Kyle. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
the future, right? So it's
Right.
like maybe there's like a Braden or a Caden that we're not expecting either, but they're all
Chad.
old men, right?
Yeah.
Hit the dude name. It's good. Name of my first crush. We
Was
held hands.
Kyle?
Yeah.
or-
at
He's
Skateland
listening.
South, we held hands in couple skate.
Ooh.
Do you remember the song?
Goodness, greatness, great balls of fire. No, I don't know.
What year were you born?
Yeah.
They were playing Jerry Lee Lewis at the
Look, they played weird stuff at Skateland South. I don't know, but I
Wasn't
would
like Pump Up
a
the Jam?
CD.
Oh, good.
Pump up the jam.
Or I saw the sign or something.
Oh yeah, Ace of Base, man.
Yeah.
All right, we are getting way off track.
Oh,
Let's
That
fly
was like
back.
Lauryn Hill.
Let's
Ooh.
everything is okay. Where do we start
What is
this
this
episode?
podcast about?
We start.
Greek
Dads.
mythology?
Yeah. So back to Greek mythology.
Yeah.
This episode begins with pretty much a personnel transfer. Is really we're partying in engineering with which turns out to be the C plot of this whole episode because
Right.
there's a minor diagnostic issue or something like that. They can't figure out a malfunction that's not even a big deal.
Right.
But maybe they need to go to Starbase Montgomery and check it out. Okay, and don't worry, Geordi has no ego problems about this. It's not a big deal. Also, yeah, it's like so everybody's being a little passive aggressive in this episode because then also Picard's like, well, I have some orders, and Riker's like, well, embarking or disembarking, and he's like,
Ooh.
I'm not gonna answer that.
Yeah.
Anyway, come see me
Deck.
in the council room. What's the name of that? That's not a council room. The meeting room.
Observation deck.
Observation deck. Yeah, come meet me there. And then when he enters, Picard has his back to him, so you know it's like a big revelation. And then
I mean,
Picard.
you know that when you ask a direct question and the answer is "come see me,"
Something's up.
what grade did I get on my paper?
Right.
It's not gonna be good.
But Picard buries the lead with the whole talking about his new first officer he's gonna get, and it's like, well, what does that mean for Riker? Is he being demoted or dun dun dun? Yep, another command offer.
Okay,
Turns out
so-
he's actually been offered this before, right?
Yes.
Well, we know he's not gonna take it because
We've gone
he's such a
through
hunk
that.
and we need him on the show. So what
Plus,
about
everyone's
this
in
guy
love
that
with
was
him.
offered the post of first officer on the Enterprise and kissed his family goodbye or her family? Was so
Right?
excited. I want to see that as the Rick and Morty after credits.
Oh,
He's like, this
actually,
is huge
last
for
minute-
me, honey. The flagship of Starfleet. I'm gonna be big.
Sorry,
It could-
sweetie.
I thought about that because it could have been Data. like temporarily, Data would be the next in rank who would move up then. But Data's not on the command track, so then it would be the next person. And then I just went down a spiral. And
Wesley, obviously.
it's Wesley. Wesley's now the
One who
first
never
officer.
made it through the Federation Academy. Just
But he
sort
gets
of was
more and
like,
more
"Hey,
responsibility.
Yeah.
ooh, nobody else's command track, so let's give you responsibility, kid."
Yeah, who did you find the answer to your question,
No.
Xander? Who would be next in line?
I gave up.
Yeah, I guess it would be a transfer then.
Yeah, it could. They could do anything story wise if they.
I'm glad you brought that up though, Becca. I hadn't considered the poor guy who was like eagerly awaiting with his bag packed. That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? You need to think about those sort of things, Captain. If you want to be a real captain.
Well, speaking of like the captain playing games, right? So turns out like right after we get through the main credits, then he's like, "Oh, also there's gonna be someone to evaluate you." I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
Wink, 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 wink.
Well, I hope it's a good briefing. Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be good. Why don't you go down to Transporter 3 and go greet him?
Picard's like
And
that
then-
character is like, I'm so excited. There's something happening.
Like as the turbo
I
lift
love
doors,
my mommy. We had tea, remember?
as the turbo lift doors close, I wanted Riker or I wanted Picard to like turn back to Worf and be like, he has no idea what's coming.
I have a question for you because I have an instance that this has happened to me. Has anything you've done with good intentions just horribly backfired? My example for this is I went out to a birthday dinner with a friend when we could still do that. This was a few years ago. And it was just, I knew it was their birthday. And we were in an Applebee's. So I did the thing where I'm going to the bathroom, and I pulled the server and I was like, hey, it's my friend's birthday. If there's something you want to do. They made a big scene and they were singing, and my friend was mortified, has like pretty bad social anxiety, and like other people at the table knew this to not do this, and no one told me, and I felt so bad, and I still feel bad to this day.
Oh,
Let me just say, fuck your friend for not pretending. No one likes it. You just do it. It's a
fine.
hazing ritual, and you're not allowed to
No.
actually show your real emotion when your friends.
You're not
the
allowed
Applebee's.
I was glad that they
Waiter,
felt
waitresses.
comfortable enough with me to explain afterwards and sort of go through that, and now I know. And so
I mean, that can't be as
No, it's a rite
traumatizing
of
because
passage. No one likes it.
it came from the right place, right? Like you were
That's the
trying to do
thing.
something sweet.
And they understood that as well. And this is the same instance of like Picard was playing a fun little thing that he thought it would be a good idea, and it was not.
But didn't he know he was estranged from his father? I thought he knew their relationship, right?
All he knows is that Riker's dad made eggs. A lot of
Right,
eggs.
an omelet. That was terrible. Because he must have
Terrible
learned
omelet.
it when he was like 13 then, or 12, whenever he left.
As I think we mentioned that in that last episode, was that like he taught him how to make eggs, then
then he's
left
out.
the next day.
He
Kyle.
says later in this episode, Kyle Riker says, in the heat of a fight, I hung around for 13 years. If that's not enough, it's just too bad.
I audibly went
Wow,
like, oof.
Dad.
Yeah.
I gave it the old Starfleet try, is what we call it. Where
13 years is a
Harsh.
long time.
but maybe
No.
in Utopian Federation space, like maybe 13 is when you become a legal adult because
Sure,
everybody's
and
so
you can
advanced.
Go down your passion of whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Well,
so
how
Riker was
old
15.
do you have to
but
be
yeah.
as a Klingon?
Ooh.
You're 6 when you become a legal adult
Yeah.
and have to kill another Klingon.
They just poke you with the sticks.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so there this was actually a episode where there are 3 plot lines, which is kind of nice. We have an ABC. We have Riker and his daddy issues. We
Right.
have Worf and his ascension issues,
Mhm.
and we have the engines and their diagnostic issues. I mean, it's pretty
Right.
much the
Can I
engineering
tell
crew.
you, I didn't even realize the C plot was happening. I blacked out on all of this.
I don't think they resolved it, did they?
No.
Okay, well then
They-
I feel less bad.
It's
Yeah.
barely a C plot. It's more of like something else is happening, and we have a little bit of character development happening. But like
think-
it was barely a C plot.
The true C plot might be what Wesley Crusher's sort of dabble in psychiatry, trying to help a friend who seems in distress, and then the engineering side plot kind of introduces Geordi and Data again as father figures for Wesley, And so that's kind of the vehicle, I think, to bring these characters together, in that nobody's becoming distracted from their duties on a starship to go handle Worf's feelings, but we can fit it into whatever we're working on as well.
I got a C-plot for you. Pulaski
getting drinkies with
and
their friends,
talking about their men in a scene that does not pass the Bechdel test. You know what I love? Men named Riker, tough ones, one that's love to fight and abandon their children in pursuit of careers.
Males never.
I was so attracted to them.
Yeah, human males never really grow up. Let's admit it, and maybe that's why they're just so attractive.
Maybe. And I was like,
disagree.
Noted.
We throw those ones out. We throw them out into space.
But also, how fun is that relationship between Troy and Pulaski of like, what would it be, like step mother-in-law if the two connected? Riker and Troy and Riker and Pulaski. Riker Sr.
Stepmother-in-law, stepdaughter-in-law. Yeah.
What a fun household.
The orgies are insane.
Yeah.
Well, like when Riker, so let's.
Don't let me get away with that. Goodbye.
When Riker first meets his dad, like, or when he sees dad, like the transporter hits up and like his dad appears and he's just like, Dad. Hello.
I compartmentalized all of my feelings for you. We will have a briefing later. Goodbye.
Like, not even really stunned. He's just like, you again.
Years of counseling work done with Troy, just instantly out the window.
Well, it's clear he's buried something here. So like, this is what I was trying to think about with this episode is like, okay, we've talked about previously how Gene Roddenberry wanted everybody to be pretty much emotional, have no emotional baggage. Everybody's pretty much got their shit figured out in the 24th century. So what's the deal with Riker? Well, he's obviously repressed his issues a little bit that he has with, I guess, his abandonment by his father and his estrangement. And then his father has these weird issues where he's jealous of his son. And we know that because Pulaski lays it out, or actually both Troy and Pulaski lay it out for him. I think Troy's more direct with it. Troy's counseling session is just right up. You're anxious. We're like, well, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
she really nailed it. You have a problem being competitive with your son.
Well, I mean, she was responding to like a hostile environment because he was not there for a counseling session either. He was being like a hostile witness, interrogated.
He just like
I was drama 4.
Well, I guess I just was surprised at her introduction to him when she flat out starts explaining his emotions to him, and then he's like, "Oh, you're a Betazoid." She's like, "Yes, I am," and it's like. Does she ever have to disclose that she can pretty much read emotions to people? Or is that always a jarring effect when she starts telling you how you feel?
Look, you go into space, you don't get to pick who you interact with. People get
where are all these space things coming from?
Jake, when you're in space, anything goes.
Yeah. But I would imagine there would have to be some sort of cultural protocol, much like us, at one point shaking hands or acknowledging each other or something like that. When Betazoids meet, I'm sure they meet telepathically. And when they meet a non-telepathic species, then there has to be some sort of protocol. But she probably overstepped her bounds in this one with her
especially with how their telepathy works, because they kind of feel it like in a sensory way around them, so like they might not always be aware that they're sensing other people until the other people come into proximity. So it's kind of like if they're walking out in nature, they kind of need to be like clapping for the bear, to warn the bear that you're near or making noise.
Like sonar.
This is all too much. I disagree. Some of us are more empathetic than others, and we just
She's also
feel
half
things
human.
even when we're not Betazoid. And I don't think it's her responsibility to disclose that.
I think that's fair, but like maybe it's she shouldn't lead in with telling everybody that she can read their. She still tells everybody what their emotions are. Like she flat out tells Kyle, like in the 4th sentence she has with him, is like, "So you're anxious? Let's talk about it."
She doesn't do it in front of other people usually, unless she's telling the captain about enemies, because it's private and she respects people's privacy.
But a basic thing of counseling is to ask people how they feel, not for you to tell them.
I think we're forgetting one thing. This could also be bad writing, and that's not the
fault. Well, that's what I might be getting at too. Also, this is space, to be fair, Becca. This is space.
Cinder, this is Star Trek. So
Sorry.
I don't think you can say that.
Excuse me.
So I think what it is not even bad writing so much as like trying to get to the point immediately,
Right.
because we only have one scene to get Kyle's issues out, and this is a good way to do it, is with a counselor. And so I thought Marina Sirtis did a great job with this scene. She got intense really quickly, and she does this power play of sitting down, which I really liked. He was very low status there all of a sudden when she sits down and takes a seat and like watches him, right? It's a fun little...
Yeah, his one thing that he had up his sleeve was that he seemed to know there was a relationship between her and Will. And so he holds that until she sort of lauds something over him and sits down, and then he plays his card, and it doesn't really affect her as much as he probably would have hoped.
What was his card?
Of like, oh, well, my son has good taste in women or something like that. Or we both have good taste in women. Indicating that he knew there was a relationship between Will and Deanna.
Yeah.
He's on the Starfleet message boards. He knows about it.
He knows.
Everybody knows. I mean, look at Deanna. He's a Riker.
His message board name is just Imzadi.
He's a Riker, everyone. When you're in space and you're a Riker, you DTF.
Horny on main.
I mean, look at Pulaski's reaction. Look at Pulaski's reaction when she met him in 10 Forward. She's like, well, how about a kiss?
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, when
it was
Riker...
not a sensual kiss. It was
a friend kiss.
It was like when somebody's aunt kisses them on the lips.
Right. But O'Brien knows her, and he doesn't do that.
O'Brien didn't almost get engaged to her, you guys.
That's true. Also, when Riker finally confronts her about it, and they have the talk, and he's like, "Oh, so you would do my father?" And she's like, "In an instant."
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa, a little too fast."
Is he asking? Did he tell you? To give him my room number.
Yeah.
She actually said "in a cold minute," which is a phrase I didn't know. Do you know what that is?
No.
The opposite of a hot second.
It's a parody of a hot second. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Me neither.
You would hope it would be a hot minute at least.
Oh, God.
Maybe a hot 10. Anyway, you know what I liked is when Deanna and Will have a heart-to-heart. And she says, "Are you feeling sad?" And he comes over and hugs her. And she breaks down in this beautiful way that was such a, we don't gradually move into emotions. We turn on a dime. She's holding it in. And then, "I'm sad too.
Yeah.
I'm doing my Betazoid accent that only I have."
There was some good acting. I mean, you could tell that everybody was exploring the feelings of these characters, which is new territory-ish for us.
Yeah,
it is new territory.
Episode very much about feelings and less about any sort of action, but you know,
that's okay.
Pulaski's quarters.
Yeah. Marina is always a good time. Any episode where she's featured, I just want to watch those scenes.
Yes.
Really, you could cut the rest out and it'd still be a good episode.
Yeah.
So Kyle Riker, what is his position? Because he's a civilian, but it seems like he's a politician.
He's like a freelancer for Starfleet. So
yeah, he's like
what
they call him, an attaché or something.
Yeah.
He's like he's a consultant. He knows certain, I guess he was a tactical consultant. He had like a tactician's brain or something like that. But like he was going to brief Riker on the assignment that he was going to go to, the Aries, which was some distant planet that might have intelligent life or something. So yeah, I don't exactly understand his position either. All I know is that he's had a great career.
Right. But that's according to him. Well, and some other people, I guess.
I think everybody's acknowledged it, but
yeah.
If he does go to Aries, he's most definitely going to die, right?
It's dangerous.
Many years, even at warp speed away, and who knows what's out there. That's why Worf is really down to join.
Yeah. That's so I didn't understand that until we learn more about what Worf's deal is, which is that he's having an anniversary of his puberty, which is really great for him, and it's a big thing in Klingon culture. But he doesn't have any Klingon. You do
monthly.
Oh,
damn!
I walked into that one.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any Klingon bros or sisters to hang out with and like celebrate it with. So Wesley, I guess, figures this out by doing some Wikipedia searches and decides that we need to throw him a pain party.
Yes, I did some research, and it's called a Klingon bro down.
Well, yeah, that you're not far off, and there's multiple ceremonies that could be described like that. This is a trope that we'll come back to a couple of times of just like Klingon culture is strange. We saw this with the exchange with Riker to the other ship, and now this is experimenting some more in what does it mean to grow up Klingon. Did Worf have these experiences? Because we know that he grew up on Earth. And was adopted, so that's why he's so obsessed with.
Oh, that's a good. I forgot about that part of it.
This particular ceremony, I wouldn't think is too strange because it does take place pretty often in downtown LA.
Sure, yeah.
Pre-pandemic,
right? When it was safe.
You had to pay like an $80 cover charge though, but yeah,
that's just a watch.
Yep.
And that's what the gallery in the back of Family was. We were just here for moral support and to watch.
A beautiful, touching moment, though. Like, what does it remind you of? It's like a handshaking line at a wedding or something, except they're shocking him with cattle prods.
Yeah.
Tell us your deepest, darkest secrets. Only a true Klingon can talk about emotions while being brutally shocked.
Right.
I don't know what stories he told in Klingon. I imagine it was just nonsense, but there is a Klingon language out there, and I wonder if it was translated.
I assumed that he was saying it in Klingon and then saying it in English. He was speaking truths from his heart, and so I would assume that's what they would.
He was translating it.
The truths in his heart were like, "Blood runneth over my palms."
Yeah. Like the pus of my enemies is in my mouth. How'd it get there?
Huh.
But they were supposed to be like vulnerable truths, right? Or what? Quintessential things or something.
Also, watching this as me now, seeing Troy have the little moment of taking Worf, you could see that Troy was like asked to do this, and I saw a moment between them that she was like, "Hey, they tried to do something nice for you. This is like a human thing. Just go along with it. Please.
The waiters are gonna sing. You're gonna be mortified."
Exactly. Here's your heads up. Just be grateful and go along with their thing.
I would have liked them to get it slightly wrong. Like they actually do have cattle prods, and it's Klingons in like cowboy gear or something. I don't know.
That.
Like, all right, I'll go with this.
Yeah. You know, it was a little on the nose how correct they were. Friends never are when they try and emulate your culture.
Right.
Also, I guess that's the benefit of the holodeck. Just gets it right automatically.
That's true.
And
that's true. Hey,
also,
that thing.
I guess how does that work with the pain sticks, because they're supposed to be like safety protocols, right? That's kind of crazy thing to do in a room full of Klingons.
Which is why the doctor is there.
So if we were in a holodeck for your friend's birthday at Applebee's,
right?
Would it be like a reverse situation where everybody has to face away from the birthday person and they each eat their own cake? And
I think it would be more like all of the friends at the table would take a piece of the cake with the candle still lit and then jab it into the birthday person.
I thought the birthday person has to walk through a series of tables upon which 4 waiters are standing on either side, which each get an individual song at that person.
I think the friends are normally the ones doing the prodding. It's just that they didn't participate in this particular instance.
Oh,
so the friends did.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine them having to do it to him? That's insane.
Becca, if you were walking down, can you imagine me just like tell me your truth?
I would like it. Actually, that sounds like something that happened in clown class.
Right.
There's a game that we play in clown class where you stand in 2 rows. This is what I was trying to think
Often
of.
Compared to Klingon culture, yes.
And one person has to run through the middle as everyone else slaps them as hard as they can when they run by.
Wow. Just anywhere?
It's about vulnerability. I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
You can slap them anywhere.
I did the same thing, but there were like paddles
so
involved.
You gotta get ready.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
The enthusiasm with which you bring up stories about clown class is so great.
Place in the
because
world.
I appreciate clowning from a theater's perspective, but whenever somebody starts a story beginning with clown class,
I know to be serious.
Describe an improv scene to you. That sort of vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Let me describe an improv scene. You got it. Yeah. So let's back to this episode in somewhat chronological order because we've jumped around a little bit.
Sure.
We have a moody Worf. We have a moody Riker. They're both going through issues about their growth. Worf, pretty much like before I'm gonna just stop it there. I don't need to go chronologically because we've kind of already covered a lot of this stuff already. But like I want to get to. I guess I want to get.
Know.
What's that?
The YouTubers know.
The YouTubers are gonna know that we're just backtracking.
No.
That's fine. That's okay, YouTubers. You get this. It's fine. But let's talk about, I guess, the brief instant we have a C plot, which is the engines aren't running. So why is Geordi's not self-conscious about it, and then starts getting self-conscious about it, right?
Yeah. I think his whole thing was like, I'm not self-conscious about this, wink, wink. like he really is, but he's saying that.
It's such an interesting
positive self-talk.
Yeah. But and like Data's all trying to navigate around it. He's like, look, I'm a consummate professional. If I wasn't a consummate professional and completely logical as an android, I would be offended by this.
Right.
It's like, what? Why? You guys can't figure out a software malfunction. This isn't your fault. Why are you taking this so personally?
Yeah, that is a great question.
Yeah, but we don't resolve it. We just like the episode ends, right? Like I was looking through my notes. I was like, what happens with this?
The thing is,
they don't need to get anywhere. Like, what's their mission? I don't know. Work out emotional issues on a ship.
Like I was saying before, I think this is just the vehicle to introduce them to Wesley's plot and to get them involved in the Klingon ritual. And then at the end, we do get a little bumper of them like, oh, Geordi's just as good of an engineer as we thought he was. Data's never wrong. And he's like,
everybody forgets to push the on button sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. It's not truly important, but like if they bring up something, I kind of look for resolution. Like you're right, Becca. It doesn't really matter what their mission is. They're going to get to the next episode. Sure. But I'm always curious as to if they develop something like that, they should at least finish it.
We do get the fun, like Data is getting mannerisms now, and we can see Brent Spiner playing with that, or even the character playing with using a shrug or a "whoop, I tried," oh well, type of aw shucks maneuvers, because you can see the emotional response that they're having.
I mean, he's been testing the waters all season with the Royale, him playing in character and all the other stuff. Like,
and it feels like it's justified. It's not out of nowhere. You know, it's not this robot is acting too human.
Yeah. He and eventually Riker. I remember Riker getting better, like a little less hard headed in later seasons. But like they both get development, you know,
be a vulnerable thing, because I feel like Riker was, if we were to take like the classic trope of masculinity, Kyle Riker would be like the epitome, like the Kirk, the type, right? And now we're seeing that
I would call Worf the epitome of masculinity.
Sure, yeah, you know, but we're seeing this softer side of Riker, of not going headfirst into the dangerous mission, considering his feelings and the feelings of others, you know, not taking the prestigious post, but rather doing something that makes him feel like he belongs. I think those are great character moments that take away from that classic masculinity trope that Star Trek was.
Yeah, right? I kind of wanted him to confront his father in the same hard-headedness he confronts these missions, because like he usually doesn't run away from a fight, but he's always fleeing from his father.
Instead, do you know how he confronts his father, Jake?
Well, his father suggests it.
This is classic. We all do this when we're around our families. We revert to a certain time in our lives when something was set in stone in our heads of like, this behavior makes me react this way as a 12-year-old. And I will always be this 12-year-old when I yell at my mother.
Sure. Yeah.
And when you
then
swing...
you turn into them.
It's only a matter of time, Becca.
For
the podcast listeners, Becca's eyes have glazed over.
She went to her special place somewhere else mentally.
My mom is one of our biggest fans, by the way.
Oh, yay.
So,
she gave us you. She's great as far as I'm concerned.
I love her. I love her a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
We'll talk about her every episode. Love you, Mom.
What were you saying, Xander?
This Japanese is garbage.
Okay, all right. So let's start off with what this is. So I was so when I watched this episode, I was like, how is Xander going to react to this as a fan of Japanese culture and who studied it extensively? Exactly. Yes. What I read from this is that the writer of the episode and the set designer also are fans of Japanese culture, and they wanted to have somebody was definitely studying karate is what they wrote, but they decided to make up. I know, right?
God.
I know. It makes it more confusing. But
And
they
then, like, Taekwondo arm. No, never mind. Anyway,
well, so they made a new. I think what they intentionally did was
Sure.
they mixed a few different cultures in here
Sure.
because they wanted to make up their own sport discipline, which is Anbo Jitsu. Is that what it's called?
Right. They call
So,
it
which
that.
is darkness staff discipline, is what it translates almost correctly to. I think.
Speaking of masculine.
Kind of.
So
Yeah.
where's the line between being a fan of a culture
Sure.
and appropriation?
Well, no, there is a line. It's, taking a culture's aspect and using it to profit in some way. In this sense, maybe even making a plot or a set design. And if they won some awards for that, or got, obviously people were paid for this, and I doubt that they may have consulted a Japanese person. Some of the like the choices were very much. There was the symbol for water and the symbol for sky and stuff like that were just like scattered around.
You mean in the calligraphy that's around there? You mean in terms of like it looked like nonsense to you?
It was nonsense. They were mixing alphabets and it was not saying anything. But the weird thing is that, like, for instance, if you take the kanji for water, it might look cool, but it's also the Japanese word for Wednesday. So they have these characters on their chest and it looks like it's saying like Tuesday, Wednesday, sky.
Okay, so the fact that I got that tattooed, not appropriation because I had to pay money?
Cultural appreciation is doing something that celebrates the culture. If you did your research, for instance, if I were to get a tattoo of Mizu, I have studied the language, this kanji is important to me for whatever reason, then that's appreciating something, I think.
So don't get the one that means Water Wednesday.
Well, I'm just saying, in this sense, it kind of looks ridiculous. But the biggest thing is the banner that's in the back when they're in the sort of dojo.
In the back corner there?
Because essentially, if you were to read it, it says, Yatsu urasai ne, urasai. Like, it's essentially an informal you, so y'all are noisy.
Y'all are noisy.
Yeah. Or
that's
like
what I put in my dojo.
Annoying, y'all are noisy or annoying. Yeah. Urasai.
So Rick Sternbach, who was the production illustrator and designer, he is white, in case you didn't recognize the last name, Sternbach. Okay. He designed this, and he, along with I know a guy named Michael Okuda actually also was a set designer.
Okay.
But I think he was Hawaiian.
Sure.
Place of birth, Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
He also did scenic art, so I believe there was a Japanese consultant on here, or at least
that's good to know.
Yeah. But what gets mentioned here in Memory Alpha is that they incorporated numerous anime references into the Anbo Jitsu mat and set pieces seen in this episode. So I think they might have been quotes from their anime, which might be y'all are noisy or whatever that is. That actually might be a direct quote from one of their favorite animes. Yeah. And I think they hid it in Japanese symbols, which are characters which most Americans wouldn't recognize.
I guess you could see it. There is a meme of like, "Omae wa mou shinderu," like you're already dead. It's something that's said as like a boss fight or something like that. So,
which I get. Like if you speak or if you read or speak Japanese and you see this in the set, that looks insane. I get it.
Yeah,
oh, for sure.
But also, the rest of it, like, that was just a weird thing. And I was like, oh, that actually says something. The rest of it is gibberish, and yeah.
Well, the fighting is the sloppiest fighting you've ever seen. Like, if you're going to be a blind fighter, half the time they have their backs to each other, and they aren't using sound to find each other. It looks like they're guessing half the time.
Hold on. So their giant Q-tips that they use to knock each other out of the circular ring have a motion sensor on the tip that flashes with the red light and beeps every time that there is some sort of, if they're pointing the tip of their Q-tip at the opponent.
Right. Okay. So if you're, I didn't realize that. So if you point towards your opponent, it lights up.
It might be.
You even know how to.
Do you even know Anbo Jitsu?
Anbo Jitsu.
Not Bujitsu?
What good is a light? It doesn't matter. They can't see.
It beeps.
Oh, it beeps. So good.
It beeps, or it
in their helmets that have no ear holes.
Yeah.
Also, Kyle's helmet was like slightly ajar for half the scene. It's bothering the hell out of me.
Right.
That's what people are there for last looks on set for. And when they're not covering your back, what are you supposed to do? It's not his fault.
The resolution I actually kind of liked, which is that Riker found out that his dad was always cheating.
Hold on. We're not done.
Okay.
Because they have spoken Japanese as well.
That's right.
I just want to say that Kyle, there is effort there, and I could actually understand what he was trying to say. Will does not get even close. I'm like, he just kind of mumbles a bit, and I'm like, what was that?
Really?
What
did they say?
It's supposed to be yoroshiku onegaishimasu, like something that you say before the beginning of something, like please do your best, or like it's good to meet you type of thing, like good to meet you here. And Kyle Riker says it in a way that's very kind of like samurai, like old Japanese. So maybe he's like imitating something that he's heard, like the yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And then Will tries to do it, but he's just like yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And it's like, whoa.
Now, is it the pronunciation or the inflection or both that's the issue? Because I know inflection is a part of it, right?
Yeah, it was the pronunciation. I couldn't understand the words he was trying to say.
Yeah, because you really bring a growl to it, and I don't know if that's a stylistic choice or necessary within the language, because I know sometimes that is important in
that would be like that older kabuki style Japanese.
Yeah, yeah.
That you might use in a martial art like sumo or jujitsu or whatever this is.
Whatever this is, that's the way to describe it.
Yeah,
so Riker finds out that his dad was cheating the whole time, which never really gets hinted at, which I was kind of expecting. Like, what gave us evidence that this was going to come up? But it's still a pretty solid resolution because his dad was making a mistake in how he wanted his son to keep trying. He just forced him to fail, which is it's pretty cruel. But I guess they kind of
book to parenting, Captain Jake.
Yeah, there. Not only is there no computer entry for programming, as if there aren't like 1,000 computer entries for how to be a better parent. Like read what I assume is Spock, not Dr. Spock, but just Spock at this point.
Sure.
But like Riker gives him an opportunity. He's like, what have you always wanted to say? And Kyle says, I love you.
That's all you had to do for like 20 years, dude.
Masculinity.
I guess. I don't know. I also feel a little unsatisfied with that because that's like the most generic and easy thing to just get off and say, right? It's just like, okay, I love you. Oh, well, all right, I accept you now. As opposed to like
that was my reaction. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's what you wanted?
You could have got me a Hallmark card for all I care. Like,
is there something he could have said that would be more satisfying? Of like, you were right, or I shouldn't have done that, or I should.
He would express regrets for how for the choices he made, because I think he realizes that he shouldn't have left his son or not even had any relationship with him. In 15 years, he didn't have time to send a single subspace signal.
Right, but I think what that boils down to is that Riker now has that abandonment issue, and that abandonment comes from, does this person love me? Obviously not. They left.
Yeah,
so,
but saying that you love, but saying he didn't reaffirm, he said it. Show it, true. Right? Like, okay, this person loves me. If you love someone, you will do things for them, such as a call.
Right.
Parent them past the age of 13.
Okay, I gotta go.
Let them win.
Mom.
I know we all have to call our mom now.
I communicate with my mother through this podcast.
Listeners, after this podcast, make sure you call your family that you haven't talked to in a while. Anything else? I think we've hit all the major points and even the minor points of this insane episode.
Don't use the Hachidan Kiritsu. That's it.
And I must say, arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah, doitashimashite.
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 Yeah, don't touch my mustache.
Sumimasen.
What's
Those
that?
are the 3 terms
Sumimasen,
I know.
Excuse me. Yeah.
It's how do you when you bump into people?
How do you pronounce it?
Sumimasen.
Sumimasen?
Mm-hmm. Sumimasen.
Okay, so together?
Oh, okay. Wait. What would be? They say mate or mata, which is like jane mata. So we could say that.
So just mata or jane mata?
Mata.
Mata. Okay.
Next time.
Mata.
Bye.
Bye.